Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And I have 2 book reviews today. This is about my 15th video in a row filming it. No, it's not truly my 15th, but I filmed a lot of videos today because I have 4 channels, so go check them out. They're all listed below. Today, the first video of review that I'm gonna do is The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. And here, let me show you a little bit. You can tell I'm like so into this review, can't you? There is the cover for The Chalk Man. And let me read to you what the book is about. You can feel it in the woods, in the school, and in the playground. You can feel it in the houses and at the fairground. You can feel it in most places in the small town of Annerbury. The fear that something or someone is watching you. It began back in 1986 at the fair on the day of the accident. That was when 12-year-old Eddie met Mr. Halloran, the Chalk Man. He gave Eddie the idea for the drawings, a way to leave secret messages for his friends, and it was fun until the Chalk Man led them to a body. 30 years later, Ed believes the past is far behind him until an envelope slips through the letterbox. It contains a stick of chalk and drawing of a figure. Is history going to repeat itself? Was it ever really over? Will this game only end the same way? Was this the most boring book that you ever read? Kind of. So anyway, no, it doesn't say that at the end. So I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I would probably give it a 74%. It just wasn't all that, you guys. And listen, I read a lot of mysteries. You know that I do. I just finished reviewing The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. It was fantastic. I read so many mysteries. I love mysteries. It's one of my favorite genres. I was so excited about this book, okay? And here's the thing. The writing is fantastic. It really is. The character development is fantastic. The mystery is so slow, you guys. It doesn't even really get kind of interesting until like the last, I don't know, 4th or 5th of the book. It is just really dragging and really slow, and you really don't know where it's going, and it jumps back and forth. It doesn't require all of that to get to the mystery that happens. And honestly, if I was going to give this author one piece of advice, what I would say to him was, the last 4th, you should have turned into the last 2/3. Made the first part really, really short when they were kids and stuff. It feels very much like, it's interesting because Stephen King said that it's like one of the best mysteries of 2018, whatever. Stephen King, no, it's not, okay? It very much has the feeling of the book It by Stephen King, and it reminds me of Stand By Me, and it also reminds me of the movie Sleepers. It was also a book, but do you guys remember that book, that movie? And, I don't think I read the book. It was by somebody, Lorenzo, I think, back in the day. I don't know how I remember that. But anyway, I don't know. It had the feeling of several different books or several different movies to me. Everybody was saying to me that at the end, like, wait till the very end because the mystery was so good that it would like... And so then I got real pumped about it, and I was really excited, and I was like, oh my God, the end is going to be so good. The end is going to be so good. And no, it just really wasn't. Like... It was kind of a cheat, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, I hate mysteries that have a cheat at the end, okay? I think it's crap, I think it's BS. I think that for them at the very end to put in this kind of cheat that you could never have guessed, it's like, okay, you know, it's like, here's the thing, right? Okay, so if let's say through the whole book, you kind of think, oh, it's this mom, right? That she's like the murderer or something like that. And you're like, oh, because she was here and because she was there and all this kind of stuff. But it couldn't possibly be her because on the day of the murder, she was with the main character. So no, it could never possibly happen. And then in the last 5 pages, you find out that she has an identical twin that lives in the United States that she's never met before that came over here to seek vengeance on her. And it's like that, you know? It's like, seriously, did you just really do that? Like... That is bullshit and a mystery, okay? It just is. And I just felt completely cheated by it. And here's the thing. If I'm reading a book, I can be like this. Like, it's 85, 86, 84, 85, 86, 70. I was done at the end of it. I just was like... so ready for it to be over. It just was, I don't know, there was so much of the book that was so eloquently and beautifully written because it takes place in the woods. It's very scary. This whole idea of the chalk drawings could have been 10 times better than it was. I have like this long like hair on the end of my nose from my hat. It's coming out. And there was this scene when the main character is like bullied, and it was so raw and like authentic and almost kind of like, I don't know, uncomfortable to read, that and it was kind of closer to the beginning of the book, and so you felt like the rest of the book was going to be like that, and then it wasn't. And then this whole thing about So, I mean, I'm not ruining it for you because this is kind of at the beginning, but so there's something about the body that is missing, and you think that's going to play into this huge part, right? Which it does. Like, when you find out about that part of it, then it is like, that is a good mystery, but not like who did it and all that kind of stuff. Like, the mystery that you're reading the book for is, I mean, it's not like, here's the thing, okay? I really thought, you guys are like, this is the worst review in the world. Well, it's not one of the greatest books, so you get a bad review for a bad book. And I'm so tired of going into Barnes & Noble and all these stupid bookstores that just pump these books because publishers have lots of money to pay for marketing and they are shit books. And I get independent writers that send me books that are 10 times better. I'm so tired of that, you know? Like, can we invest in money of writers that really have great stories to tell? Because I read this book and I just was like so not fascinated with it at all. And you know, the thing is that like the mystery that I was reading it for was not the mystery that I was interested in at the end. And even that, like, you don't even find out what happens with it. Like, they like share like this little bit and you're like, oh my God, like that's crazy. I never would have guessed that. Kind of. I mean, kind of I did. Kind of I thought that person was going to be the murderer, you know? So it's just like it goes in all these different directions. The end kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's just, I don't know. The way that I wanted it to end was not the way that it ended. I was so disappointed in this book, you guys. I really, at the end, I mean, like the last probably, I don't know, fourth of it, I just was like, let's just get to the end of this. Can we just finish this now? I'm ready for it to be done. So I gave it a 74%. That is being generous. And I gave it 3 stars. Now, I will tell you this, okay? I think there are, unlike other books that I've read that I just really disliked, there were a lot of appealing qualities to this book. I do think that a lot of people would read it and give it a 5-star. I really do, okay? For a lot of mystery readers out there that like Stephen King, because it is a lot like Stephen King and Joe Hill, and there's even kind of a little bit of a paranormal aspect to it, questionably, but I do think that there are people out there that would give it a 5-star and give it a 95% or whatever. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, go read it. I would be interested to see other people what they have to say, because I believe that somebody could read this. I could be sitting at coffee and say, hey, did you read The Chalk Man? They'd be like, I loved it. And that wouldn't surprise me. I also believe that it would play very well as a movie. I think if it were made into a movie, it would be fantastic. But as a book, it just didn't work well for me, which was sad because his writing is so fantastic. I mean, it really, really is. And he's such a mood writer, and he does so well. CJ, I'm assuming is a man. I could be wrong, but he writes it so well, and that like just the characterization was so interesting to me. And you guys know that I love character-driven books. So anyway, 74% and 3 stars, and that is my review of The Chalk Man. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.